Welcome back to my channel. This is a reading for Libra for the month of May 2023. I just wanted to let you know I pulled quite a few cards here this month, and so I will probably end up doing some additional reads because this one seems to be like there's a lot of issues going on here in the month of May. It does seem like there is something in around finances that is going to be an issue here. So and it seems like there is almost like some trickery or something like that that might come into play. So I'm just going to kind of give you the general surmise, and then we'll go through each of the cards and flesh it out. So the good thing is that all the energies out for this month, and again, I pulled a lot of clarifiers, but I was just trying to get a little more detail. But all the cards that are coming out though in the month of May are very minor arcana. So nothing I feel that is going to be, it's like petty disturbances. That's what it feels like. It feels like there's going to be a lot of irritations, a lot of maybe paperwork, red tape, something that's going to come into play here that is going to be questionable anyway. But I did try to pull some advice cards here with the angel answers as well. I'll pull those forward here in just a moment. I'm not really sure who this is in relation to, but there definitely seems to be some kind of long-term commitment with it, although it did come up with the Hierophant card and so on. So I suspect that there might be something in regards to an issue that is possibly in around either a workspace, major corporation, or something governmental, but either way, or long-term commitment situation. Could be again around a long-term friendship or something of that line, or even a relationship. But either way, it's something very long-term, very big kind of energy, and it seems to be around a conflict for sure. So again, this is only a portion of the energies that come through. It's just sort of the main ones that are kind of resonating for whoever this does resonate for. Certainly there are indicators that there's some very hopeful cards here as well. And as I say, the only one that I do see to be the big card out that is a major arcana is the Fool. So I'll flesh it out. And again, a lot of cards here in around finishing up cycles. So it seems like there's some trace amount of energy that's still coming in from other months that you're sort of working through, and it still looks like you're working through releasing something as well. But so you haven't been able to really roll yourself into this new start just yet. You're still working through or working into this new pathway. Okay, so we'll get right into the Five of Cups. Again, this is the major energy that is some kind of disappointment that is creeping in here. It's a disappointment around your emotional happiness. So something that could be in around a familial situation, like family of some sort here, has really been a bit of a disappointment. So I wouldn't say, again, like there's a lot of cards further out, that indicate that, in preceding months there will be some changes. But in May, it feels like there is some kind of disappointment around a family matter, like I said, where you're just not getting something that you had expected to move in your favor. So anyway, so we'll just kind of flesh it out here, but we'll start with just that Five of Cups energy again. Okay, so as I say, the Five of Cups is definitely an indicator, especially when it's paired right beside the Ten of Cups. Again, to me, it feels very family, or something that you were really putting a lot of weight into, and you either are feeling, I don't want to say betrayed, it feels like it's more of a letdown, but there is a lot of conflict in this month that is petty squabbles, is what I would say. Not major uprooting sort of energy, but it definitely feels like you're kind of focusing on these losses rather than any of the gains. And there are gains because you've got the Six of Cups here, which to me is a card of getting some help in terms of finances, or to move something ahead. But again, the Five of Cups is really where you just feel like your heart's been bruised. There's a little bit of a letdown. Old wounds might be getting in the way here. Self-pity, all of that sort of comes into play here. But it also feels, like I said, that you could also be feeling a little bit on the drained side of things here because of some kind of emotional situation that might have been back and forth and back and forth, that kind of thing. Because we do have the Ten of Wands over here, and we also have the Ten of Swords. Granted, this is more of a clarifier to the Eight of Cups, and the main energy, of course, is just the Five of Cups, the Six of Cups, the Eight of Cups, and the Fool and the Ten of Wands. So I feel like this month, and again, I'm just focusing more so on the emotional aspect of it. You know, there is some cards of finances that sort of interrelate or overlap in some areas here, but it seems like this is a very emotional month for you in May. So again, Five of Cups in around the Ten of Cups. It feels like this is a letdown around something that, you know, emotionally it has caused you to have some sense of, you know, disappointment, and the joy has been sucked out of a situation. So you are being asked just to persevere. I feel like with the Two of Wands down here as well, and the Magician, I think you were trying to create some kind of a new connection or a new start, and somehow that energy didn't go as planned, because like I said, we've got the Ace of Wands, but we also have the Two of Pentacles. I ran out of room, so it's Five of Cups, Ten of Cups, Strength card, Two of Wands. We've also got the Magician card. So for me, I would say it's something that you were trying to, you know, expand or kind of reconnect with somebody, and it just didn't go as planned. You know, it was a disappointment. So it looks like you might have extended yourself out in some way, and the result was that it just didn't turn out as expected. And again, of course, with the Magician card, you know, you were trying to manifest something that was more positive, but you're trying to create some balance in a situation that, you know, was kind of a new spark, a new start, but it just was a bit of a letdown. And again, it's still minor arcana, so I mean, it's not to say it's completely dismissive energy. It's just that it is still something that is, you know, just noteworthy, and you know, want to revel in it if you can help it. But just to be aware, there's some conflicts kind of brewing in the month of May, emotionally. So, and again, with the Ten of Cups, with that surrounding card of the Strength and the Five of Cups, it feels like there could be, you know, you're just not in alignment with that particular relationship, friendship, you know, close connection, whatever it is for you. But again, there's some sense of disconnection there, and that you just need to persevere, you know, to maintain your happiness this month, because there will be sort of a welcoming time here up ahead, but it's just not right there yet. And even insofar as your, well, even when we kind of, I just want to touch base, I guess, on because normally the Two of Wands, like I said, that is kind of trying to move something in a direction that is, you know, more hopeful. Like I said, Wands are taking action, you know, in a particular area which seems to be emotional for you. But it just feels like the two is, I'm trying to create some balance, because we've got the Six of Cups up here, but the balance again was disrupted. You're trying really hard to make something happen, and it's just not where it should be. So, okay, anyway, I don't want to dwell too long, but again, Two of Cups, Two of Pentacles, or sorry, Two of Wands, and with that, also with that Two of, to me, this is, you're really trying to create some harmony, really trying to create some balance, and it just feels like you're a little, you know, it's sort of falling on deaf ears here with the Two of Pentacles and the Two of Wands. You're trying to move something ahead in a grounded, practical way. You're trying to restart some kind of connection, or at least reach out to somebody, and it's just just not going, as I say, very favorably. There are some cards that kind of speak to something moving ahead a little bit here, but you know, it might come after this disappointment. But again, you know, that Two of Wands sort of energy to me just speaks to maybe persevere, and it will change, because the Strength card still speaks to something could, you know, further out, you know, move in that direction. But just right now in the month of May, it looks like there's a bit of a challenge there. So anyway, okay, so again, feels like it could be an emotional emotionally intense situation. Like I said, because it is requiring you to be strong, calm, cool, collected, that kind of thing. Yeah, it just feels like more of a gentle approach is required here. The Magician is still that energy of trying to manifest something, but again, this is all energy that's further out, so nothing's kind of happening in this month other than you're feeling some sense of letdown over, you know, something that you were trying to make happen. So it is still inspired action on some level. You know, you've taken the measure to reach out. You've taken the step to, you know, pull everything together. It's like how do I put that? It's like you've had all of the focus on the goal and to try to make something happen, but somebody else has either pulled out or, you know, because you've got this sense of purpose to move something ahead. And it just feels like, and you're trying to get, you know, that spark to move someone in line with whatever your idea is or whatever you're, you know, emotionally sort of charged up here about as well with the Ace of Wands, but it's just not happening. Okay, so getting into the Six of Cups energy, Six, of course, is still all about trying to find balance, and that's what's happening here this month. So you could be also doing some reminiscing over the past. You could be dealing with a person from the past as well. You could be trying to reconnect with old flames, old friends. Anything sort of falls into this theme here, but it's also a card of just remembering the good old days and trying to create some new start. But it feels like it's kind of, again, falling on deaf ears, because the Nine of Pentacles is also a card of sort of being on your own. And I feel like the Six of Cups, you could be getting some, you know, maybe you went to somebody for some help and it just didn't quite pan out. I'm not really quite sure on that energy just yet. I have to sort of wait to feel it out. But right now, like I said, it just feels like there's some past reflection going on here. Page of Pentacles does bring in some sense of money for sure. I feel like there's something coming in here, but I'm not sure if this is because you're getting help or, you know, from someone from the past here or not, because it feels like there's a little bit of a letdown in around that area. Again, when we get to the Page of Pentacles, you know, that is sort of a grounded, well, it is a grounded energy. And again, it still speaks to things being in around the practical world. Doesn't have to be money specifically, but it does indicate that there is something that you're trying to bring forward, because we do have that, you know, further down, that Magician, of course. But, you know, the Page of Pentacles is bringing through a Nine of Pentacles energy. So, and it does seem to be around an emotional area that's somehow tied to this achievement. And even though the Nine of Pentacles is a card of discipline and success of some sort, and a goal being met, and for sure, I mean, there could be a sense emotionally that that's the little confusing part here for me. Like I said, I have to kind of review the rest of the cards before it sort of pulls through for me. But just like I said, I mean, individually the card is, you know, finding more peace, you know, kind of in a peace and contentment in this reflective space. So, you know, maybe there is something in around the past friends or connections that is putting you into the space where you're just reminiscing and you're really trying to be whole again. That could also be really what that's at, because the Page of Pentacles could be you just getting closer to nature and, you know, getting closer to yourself and trying to be more grounded and secure and those kinds of things. So it's just like a deeper commitment for sure on some level to yourself. And that's, you know, but again, it's in a reflective space. So whether you're doing this through people that are around you in the month of May, or if you're doing this through an actual, you know, just pulling back here with the Nine of Pentacles to find, you know, your own kind of peace and learning and all of that. Because Page of Pentacles for sure is also that card of studying and learning, but it's also patient, deep connection. So, you know, it's really about you never too old to or never too old, never too late to kind of move into the space of developing things that you want and creating a stronger foundation for yourself. So keep going with that effort for sure, because that is still, you're still on the right path. That's what you need to be doing. The Eight of Cups, like I said, that's still a card of trying to walk away from something that is a difficulty or a problem, but you know, I feel like you're not really ready to let go of something, because the Page of Wands still has some energy around, it's in my back pocket. It's, you know, it's kind of looking to the future, but still hanging on to a little bit of the past here. So you're maybe not quite ready to look, go forward, because you are still in a reflective space here with some kind of a connection. Could also be something in around a younger person as well, because there's a couple of pages here, but again, they are secondary to the main energies, which would be the Eight of Cups. So it just feels like you are in a place where you are trying to kind of make things right with yourself, and your own, the things that you're trying to go after, the things that you desire, the things that help you to feel self-love. All of that is kind of and it just feels like it's really into that, a lot of that deeper energy. I don't see a lot of really hermit energy, like where you're cutting yourself off from people or anything like that, but it does reflect some level of healing for sure, even though again a lot of the cards further out indicate that the healing is still taking place. So you're still moving toward, and maybe just touching on the energy in the month of May, but further out you'll be reaching the Ten of Swords, and the Star card of course is a card of healing as well. And because of just where it's paired, I would say it's a card of healing. It's not necessarily individually success and freedom at this point, because I feel like you are feeling some kind of weight around you in terms of responsibilities, especially with that Ten of Wands. Again, that is still showing that you are going through some heavy burdens here, but it feels like it's more emotional heavy burdens. You don't really feel quite freed up yet. Something is still weighing you down, but you're spending a lot of time in thinking about your dream here with the Fool card, trying to lift things off. But you're also doing a lot of energy work in the space of things that are in around your emotions, in around your, I suspect, relationships. Could be relationships to younger people here as well. Whatever that letdown is for you, there's still energy being kind of trailed out here. So again, I'll flesh this out a little bit more, but we're just sort of touching on it right now. Okay, we did the Page of Wands. Ten of Swords, of course, that is the area of your life where there's a lot of conflict and you're still kind of wrapping things up. You're still in that energy of trying to release it. It doesn't look like you've released it yet. Ten of Swords, again, is some kind of ending. It doesn't mean it's completely ended. Everything just stops and then you just move right on. A lot of times that energy does sort of drag out, where you have felt like there's been a lot of conflict, things, maybe you were stabbed in the back, or maybe there were some harsh lessons that you had to learn. But whatever it is that you're anchored in here, this is still energy that indicates that you need to shift your focus on some level. I do feel like you're doing that here because you've got the Fool with the Four of Wands, but you're still in a healing place further out, because again, Eight of Cups is where you're sitting. You're moving into this energy of Ten of Swords, healing things up here and moving into the Star, but you're just not there yet. There's still some compromises yet to make, to yourself or possibly in the situation in general. The card of the Fool, like I said, you're still looking forward, and it's not the 2.0 card with this deck. There is a 2.0 Fool, but the Fool in itself is really wanting this new adventure, wanting some kind of a change. Maybe you want to involve family with this new adventure as well with the Four of Wands, and you really want to expand things. You want to go ahead. You maybe want to go on a journey of some sort. Usually I see a few other cards here that kind of, indicate some holiday, but that's not specifically what I see, other than, there might be a journey of some sort that you want to take everybody on here, but it still feels like it's a solitary sort of energy right now. But it is going to require, optimistic sort of point of view, but as well, I feel like you need your family support, or you need some kind of more grounding, more stability, and able to make this move before you're ready to lock in the journey. But there's a lot of potential here in this reading, and again, this is still the major energy that's coming in. It is the major arcana. So the Four of Wands, it is energy around wanting to take the first step. Well, not just a first step. The Four of Wands is really a good structured energy, a good solid energy, connections and gatherings and milestones, all of that. But it just is a reminder really just to also, take the time to kind of celebrate yourself, or celebrate, period, because I feel like, there might not be a lot of joy in the situation here just yet, because like I say, I feel like you're getting your joy right now from something that is connected to the past, and whether this is just you reminiscing or actually entertaining yourself with other people, there could very well be a gathering here as well in May, or connections on that level because of the Four of Wands here. But there's just people, period, that have some kind of similar, I don't want to say exactly thought patterns, but some people that you really can connect with and people that understand you to some extent. So it does feel like there is a comfort or a sense of home in the month of May. And again, with that Three of Wands, it sometimes can indicate that there's a pause before something moves ahead. It's a waiting energy, and right now I don't feel like you're in that space yet. You're still in the I'm thinking about this new adventure, I'm thinking about kind of jumping into this space. I either want to take family with me and kind of move something, but it's an exciting kind of opportunity or something here that you really want to do, but it is still it's a desire for a reconnection of some sort that could be in the distance. When I look at the card, could be just a journey that's in the distance here, a trip that you want to take, like I say, because the Fool, and it seems to be in around family, and it could even be reconnecting with people in family, with regards to family that is in around this journey. That could very well be what's happening here too, but there is some sense of a delay here with that Three of Wands. So I just feel like you're having to either consider roadblocks up ahead or consider some of the weights or the burdens that jumping into this new path or this situation might bring, because the Ten of Wands definitely indicates there is something that is going to be a little bit cumbersome that you will have to consider in this month for May. So it's a burden that either you have to let go of, or a burden that you have to consider in taking on more responsibility. It could be, again, multitasking, because we did have the Two of Pentacles down there with the Two of Wands. Again, a real sense that you're trying to find a sense of balance. But important priorities need to be sort of made at this time, focusing your energy and, not trying to focus too much on the difficulties. Eventually your answers will come. We do have that followed up with the Three of Swords. So there's definitely some conflict in around, three people possibly being involved in a situation. With the Queen of Pentacles, so really trying to allocate your resources around whatever the situation is, and it does feel like it's a bit of a burden and able to create this situation. So I feel like this could be involving another person, could be a father figure, somebody who is more grounded in their energy, who seems to be more well off or has a really good sense of finances. Certainly looks like how to, allocate your resources. But again, that Three of Swords energy in the mix does indicate to me that there is something that is something that has to be considered here that is causing some kind of, anguish here for you. And maybe there is a conflict with, a situation here between two people that are fairly well off, or this could also be just a conflict of some sort in around the finances and the resources at this time. So for others of you, again, this will speak to you all differently. It's just general energy, and certainly, if it doesn't resonate for all of you in this month, you're all making different decisions, different dates, and certainly the timeline is going to be different for all of you. So, but like I said, I just feel like there is some kind of battleground going on here as well. And it does seem like it could be in around finances here. It seems like there is some conflict around the finances, like I said, and there is some issue here as well. I pulled these ones too. I ran out of space here, but there is something that seems to be possibly this is what's causing the delay, because we have the King of Swords, and this is Libra energy really standing out here. And then we also have the card of the Queen of Wands. So there could be an issue that is in around going forward, like I said, with a particular plan. And because the Knight of Cups is something that to me feels like it's some kind of a wish fulfillment. Well, I don't want to say wish fulfillment, but something that would make you emotionally happy going in this direction. But the problem is there is a real guardedness around with that Knight of Wands. You're really persevering, and that's usually, to me, still a strong card that you can get something done. You can still make it happen. But it just feels like there is some elements here that are either you're going to have to create some kind of strategy, but again, with that 7 sorry, the Three of Wands back there, it feels like there's a bit of a weight on something here that is causing some delay, and it just feels like it's a bit of a hardship on some level to do it. So again, we've got that Seven of Swords energy coming in here too. So like I said, there's a strategy that needs to be kind of implemented, but again, with the Hierophant coming through here, it could be around a job, could be around a corporation, something really traditional or long-term that is somehow an obstacle here in this situation. So like I said, I mean, the Hierophant is a little bit different for all of you, but it definitely still speaks to some kind of structure where, you know, you're having to rely on something here that is, maybe you're having to defend yourself in regards to this particular thing here as well, because, you know, the fact that there's the Nine of Wands, it feels like somebody's trying to get away with something, and you're having to either, maybe you're having to produce more documents, maybe you're having to, you're restricted in some way here, like there's some kind of restrictive sort of mindset or something along that line that could be, you know, causing something that you have to heal through here. But like I said, either way, it's going to speak to you all a little bit differently, because some of you, this is going to be a relationship. Some of you, it's going to be more of a job scenario. But there is definitely some issues around something that is, you know, again, if we're talking about, it feels like you're being stifled from going forward anyway with whatever this is. There's definitely a lot of energy here around a relationship. So, I mean, I'm not ruling that out for sure, because the Knight of Cups is, you know, wanting to kind of move forward in a particular way. But, you know, emotionally sort of putting yourself out there. But again, whatever this long-term connection is, there's huge, you know, somebody, it's almost like a self-sabotage or a sabotaging, not you self-sabotaging, but somebody trying to sabotage the situation here. Because the King of Swords, again, I feel is, you know, you kind of representing here. You know, you're in a situation where, again, I mean, in a general sense, the card could indicate some kind of legal situation or some kind of established sort of energy, you know, in terms of a structure or a routine, somebody who's very, you know, lawyerish, whatever. There could be, you know, somebody who's got a fairly articulate kind of mindset, the way that they speak, all of those things. That's the King of Swords there as well. But like I said, I mean, it just feels like this is, you might have to think fast on your feet here as well, in regards to a particular situation, because it does represent Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. But like I said, there's something here that kind of speaks to kind of blunt. We've got the King of Swords, somebody who's a little more blunt in the way that they speak. And then we've got the Queen of Wands, which is really the opposite to that, is somebody who's a lot more charismatic, outgoing, you know, definitely sort of mature energies on both fronts though. And then we've got sort of this childlike quality with the Knight of Cups coming through. Maybe not childlike as in page child, but more, you know, 20s, 30s, that kind of thing. I think it's 30s is sort of that range, 30, 40s. But it still is kind of nervous energy here, or at least there's some kind of tension around that connection. Like I said, there's just something here that just feels a little bit off. It's kind of a temperamental sort of behavior. Like it's like there's harsh words, and then there's some strong motion to go ahead. Aries, Leo, Sagittarius could also be coming into play here. It's still improvement in this particular direction, but you just have to watch yourself. That's kind of what it reads as. Like I said, I mean, there's still something here about kind of being swept up in the, you know, intensity of something, or some kind of emotional affair or emotional situation, or something that is involving travel that might be in around a relationship here as well. But it still feels like, you know, whatever this thing is, it just, there's still a bit of resistance or a little bit of a fight that you have to, I shouldn't say fight, that's not really quite the word, but there's still a sense that you really need to find a way to integrate whatever this difficulty is, or integrate something to be able to reach the conclusions of all the 10 of Wands and the, you know, because you're still, there is progression in the direction that you want here. But again, it just feels like there's a little bit of something that you're having to really significantly kind of battle. And I feel like it's a battle of words. so to speak, because there is some resistance. Somebody's kind of stepping in the way. And again, this could be, if it's paperwork that is, slowing down the process, somebody wants more documents, or, or like in a job situation, somebody's trying to throw, a wrench in the situation to kind of slow it down. It doesn't feel like it'll work, but it does feel like it is still something like that, though. Again, it could even be a relationship that's just trying to throw a wrench in something moving forward for you. But either way, it's just kind of in around that energy, because the Nine of Wands is that card of trying to, there's a challenge here and you really have to be determined, and you're kind of in that position, standing up for yourself, all of that. But again, there is it feels like kind of a long battle, because it goes from the 9 to the 10, kind of a long battle throughout the month of May about doing something. So again, I just feel like there is possibly a delay or something that might get in the way here, because there's a lot of real stubborn energy that's coming in here as well. The Hierophant, like I said, I mean, there's just that energy, like I said, that's still, kind of corporate or long-term kind of situation, but it's still energy around. That's pretty significant. That has to be considered. So I don't feel like you can just put this to the back of your mind. I feel like you're going to have to deal with it, period, whatever the situation is. So, but again, it feels like on the upside of things. So, if you are having to kind of work through an issue with someone or with a work situation or whatever that is for you, I still feel like you have the upper hand in the situation. So again, it could be organization, group structure, whatever, but it's a real established way of doing something, long-term situation, and definitely has energy that kind of falls into a clash of a belief system here, because we've got Nine of Wands, we've got Hierophant, and we've got Seven of Swords. So it really strongly feels like there is a clash in a belief system in the month of May. And I do feel like there is, you're going to have to incorporate an idea into a situation, or incorporate some kind of negotiation in a situation, enable for something to move ahead. So there could be, maybe that's why there is this level of disappointment here around your happiness, because something isn't working out quite in the time frame possibly that you wanted it to, which really does go hand in hand with some of the cards that I pulled out here at the end, which are the Angel Answers card, Raleigh Valentine, and they did speak to the same. So it's about looking for a sign and able to kind of move your way through a situation. And then of course we had the card of forgiveness. So obviously there's some kind of issue that does arise, feels a little more personal than a business situation. We had the card of trust. So you just have to trust the process. There will be some kind of a resolve, and then just ask your angels. And again, it boiled down to compromise as well. So again, just really feels like whatever the situation is, you're not going to get the full, you're not going to get exactly what you want out of a situation. You are going to have to compromise something and able to move forward. But, still, it's more favorable. It is still a favorable sort of situation nonetheless. So I'm going to pull these away just because I think we've kind of dealt with those ones. And we'll go back to some of the other ones and just try to see what else comes through there. Okay, and okay, so just going to go right back into these other ones here. So as I mentioned, like with the 10 of Wands energy here, I feel like in this month for May, 10s definitely are about, transitioning into some new element here, some new area of your life. Definitely feels financial in regards to this situation. And it's certainly a cycle of completion, but it's also about kind of mastering something as well. And you do go from it was the nine of Wands to the 10 of Wands. Again, the other cards I just sort of pulled away here, but the main energy is that you're kind of finishing up with something. So it just feels like you're ready for something new, and you are preparing for some kind of new beginning. So 10 of Wands, like I said, is that card of, really feeling like you are in around your finances. Like I said, there does seem to be some challenge around that, because maybe you're a little overdrawn in something that you want to do, and there is some kind of setback in doing going forward with something. But either way, it's still minor energy. So I wouldn't say that you shouldn't go ahead or anything like that, because everything still feels doable. It just feels like you might have to do it on a budget, or you might have to do it with some boundaries, or you might have to do it with scaling back some of your activities, or scaling back something and able to make something else happen here. And again, even with your finances, because it's so closely connected to, the King and Queen of Pentacles here, it feels like there is just something in around that is where you just need to reevaluate some of the things that are in the way here. So reevaluating doesn't mean, not going forward. It just means reevaluating. So that's kind of where that sort of ends. But you are definitely going to have to, like I said, consider more of a picture, because again, you had cards of there being a required negotiation of some sort. So when we get into the Three of Swords, again, Three of Swords, can indicate that there's maybe three people here there's an issue around that. But the card still sort of speaks to kind of trying to work through the pain. Maybe somebody's causing you some pain because of the conflict, but it is still a minor arcana, so it's something that's going to pass. And again, it's not, maybe again, there's some kind of compromise here where maybe you have to downsize something. Maybe you don't get paid for something. Maybe you're taking a holiday and there's just going to be some kind of cutback on the spending, but there's just something you have to kind of compromise or negotiate out, like I said, because even with the Three of Swords energy, something else has to be considered. There's some element here that you have to consider, and you're not going to be able to get around it. So you have to kind of look for the signs, as the other angel card said, and then you'll be able to sort of figure out what it is that is kind of causing this tension here with the Three of Swords. Like I said, I don't feel like you're going to have to give up everything, or, I think you still have the potential to move something ahead. It just won't be exactly as you maybe laid it out. There's a compromise of some sort here. So again, disappointment around some financial situation or some resource that you were hoping for. But either way, it just feels like you can still go forward with something. It's just, again, there's a bit more of a compromise that's kind of involved here. That King of Pentacles, like I said, still feels like, this could very well be you, or having to consider finances. Could be dealing with, your workplace or something like that for some of you, but it just feels like it is a measured risk that you're taking, like you're really having to consider all points in a situation before moving forward. Again, could be Capricorn, Virgo, Taurus here as well, but it just feels like you really have to make a practical decision, because we've got, Queen and King, and it is going to saddle you in some way to be able to do this, go in this direction. Again, the King of Swords energy that we had out there before indicated that somebody's not going to be all that compromising, and they are willing to fight for their situation. But again, there's a need for compromise in a particular direction here. So, yeah, I just feel like you really have to consider all angles here. Like I said, there's just something that isn't quite known just yet. So Queen of Pentacles, again, this is still energy around, even though we've got the Ten of Cups sort of over here. And again, these aren't the main energies. But when they're sort of coupled like that, it just feels like there could be a goal of some sort, like I said, I feel is going to be achieved in May, because that's the further out energy, not happening in May, but the energy is starting to circulate around in May. So there might be communications, there might be some kind of discussion in May, but again, it feels further out, whatever this is. Again, Capricorn, Taurus, Virgo, but if you are building on some kind of, if there is money that looks to be here, it is a negotiation around some aspect of it. So I don't really know what that is being paired around yet, but maybe when we do some further reads here in May, it'll all kind of, become more apparent. But right now it just feels like it's around the practical side of your life that is having to be compromised. So financially, that could be the situation, or maybe there is something here that that has to be considered around another person. something like that. But there is definitely some aspect of family that's kind of involved here for sure. And there is definitely some aspect of dealing with things from the past. So again, feels like you're in that reflective space, and it definitely is cards of triumph with the 6 anyway coming through. So I do feel like you're going to get what you expect to get, but again, there's a negotiation of some sort there. So 6 of Cups, like I said, is still a pretty positive energy on lots of levels, even if you are dealing with childhood or something that's in around family. You know, for some of you, maybe I wouldn't even say stuck in the past, really, because the energy for the most part is pretty positive in that particular area. I mean, there feels like there is a disappointment around it, but it's more of a letdown, not a crushing blow. So again, 6 of Cups is still, you know, kind of thinking of your childhood, thinking of, you know, goals and dreams, and you know, thinking about even maybe a place that you're wanting to go to here, because it's right next to the 8 of Cups. Thinking of a place that is something you're really close to, that you'd like to go back to. Maybe it's something along that line here as well. But you know, emotionally, it could also be, like I say, sort of, you know, looking at the past and not really feeling very connected to someone in particular, though. I would say that there's no real strong emotional commitment, or I shouldn't say commitment, connection emotionally in this month. It feels like there's some kind of distance there. There is some, like I say, maybe that's what the compromise is here, that's over here with the 3 of Swords. And it does seem like there is something there that is around the past. This is not a new person coming. This is somebody you've known for some time, for sure. Yeah, and again, like, we're still kind of in that thinking about old dreams kind of energy here as well. Page of Pentacles, like I said, is still in around things from the past, but the pages are, you know, thinking about childhood on lots of different levels there with that 6 of Cups, as well as the page. To me, that still indicates a lot of childhood energy, you know, for sure. So, or thinking about a child in particular, but there's definitely, you know, it's energy around a child. And maybe there's some sense that, because the Page of Wands, again, still reflection back to maybe happier times. But there's just something here also around you trying to improve yourself, because the Page of Pentacles is also that card. It's also about educating yourself. It's also about, you know, kind of beginning something new. But again, there could be a message coming through here as well, also about money. Usually for me, it's kind of the swords that come through for me on that level, but it's not to say that Page of Pentacles couldn't also stand for the same. But it is feeling like it does improve your situation in some way. But again, there's just a lot of reminiscing, but there's something here about, you know, something around family where there is a discussion, there's a negotiation, there's some difficulty, there's something that has to be handled with kid gloves, so to speak. There's something here that needs to be considered very delicately, is what I would say, because there's too much energy around this that could be very, like the 10 of Swords and the 10 of Wands, it could go in a very bad direction. So I think whatever this is, you have to treat like kid gloves. It just really has to be something just very carefully considered anyway. I don't think having a lot of over emotion would resolve this issue, but I feel like you want to go forward with an idea or with something, and maybe you are considering family to come with you, maybe, or to go on the journey, or on the dream, or help build the dream. But either somebody's not on board or something like that, or there's a conflict around it. Maybe somebody's not ready for something to go ahead and you're ready to go ahead. It could be anything sort of in that area. But 4 of Wands, like I said, is still around the family front here, and it definitely still sort of speaks to, you know, wanting to be safe and secure and move and advance forward, but there is just still some battles around that. So This could be a very prosperous period, I would say, like further out for sure, because again, you've got stability that's considered, a lot of grounded energy here. Definitely, 10 cycles finishing up, which were burdens and difficulties. And you're kind of moving into this more prosperous sort of area, but it's almost, again, still feels like tying up loose ends. It's still sort of in that area. The Three of Wands, like I said, feels like you really want to advance, but there's still something here to consider that's slowing things down here. And again, there's possibility of traveling abroad here, because for me, the Eight of Cups kind of could speak to that as well with the Three of Wands. Usually I see the Sun card out here or something for me on that level too, but either way there is, and we do have the Two of Wands over here. So, I mean, there is a potential for that. That you're moving in a particular direction that you want to advance in, like I said, and it could be in regards to, there's some collaboration required here around a family situation, some kind of cooperation that is required there. Yeah, but as I say, the Three of Wands is still kind of planning. It's still planning something, and still feels like it's going in the direction that you want it to. You're looking forward to something, and it feels like it's a very optimistic time, and there's some changes here that you've really been wanting to make. But again, there's just a sense that you're just having to wait till something is kind of approved, or deal with something that's kind of in the way with that Three of Swords. So anyway, I'm going to probably pull more, of course, for this in May. But right now, because it'd be kind of interesting to find out what that obstacle really is. But anyway, that's the general energy is what I have for you for the month of May. But like I said, things are still moving in your direction. Just feels like there's a challenge or a battle or something here that, and I say battle, but I mean kind of a minor argument of some sort, that is, somebody is really being resistant here, and it is going to take your perseverance or your persistence to kind of, but it's more of a negotiation is really what's required. That came through on so many different fronts before you can resolve this situation to go forward. So, but that's what I have for you, Libra, for the month of May, and that's 2023. So hopefully that gives you a little bit to look forward to, and I guess it's posing a few new questions, but we will pull some other cards, tarot and oracle, as we get closer to May, and we'll go from there. Keep moving forward and never give in.